I didn't want to have to make this video this morning. I wanted to make it a while ago. You remember last week when I made my video about 1D&D? Yeah, that was actually edited the day before it went up. It's a weird behind the scenes thing we like to do here where we get things done before they're supposed to go up. But then, 2 hours before the video went up, Linda Codega published their article about the Open Gaming License 1.1 that they got a copy of, and a lot of stuff in that video wasn't accurate anymore. To avoid that happening again, I delayed recording this video as long as possible because I was waiting for an official statement from Wizards of the Coast, and it just didn't come.
I hope you're hungry for nothing.
So I was just like Bella Swan in Twilight waiting for my crappy boyfriend to text me back. So it is 9 a.m. on Thursday. I intend for this video to go up at 11 a.m. on Thursday, and let's hope that nothing happens in the next 2 hours, or I guess let's hope that it does, and they are smart and they fix it. I did decide to let the video go up because most of what I said in the video, I agree with. The big thesis of the video was that change is okay, and if we have to change to another system, that's fine. We'll do it together. It's scary to switch stuff, but we can switch stuff. As someone who made a bunch of homebrew for 5e and has another homebrew video coming out next week, yeah, that's gonna suck having to patch that all up for another system. But again, it's something we can do. But I do suspect sometimes that Wizards of the Coast specifically watches my videos before stuff goes up because weird stuff like this happens, where I'll post my video, but 2 hours before I post my video, the OGL gets leaked. That seems weird, right? Or after I do my Jotaro video, they release a Jotaro Monk subclass 1 month later. Weird. So, whoever's at Wizards of the Coast and is in charge of brand strategy watching this, hi, I want to help you make money with your billion-dollar franchise. Apparently that's hard. So first, OGL 1.1, that ain't it. I do want to say there are two good things about it. I don't like NFTs and I don't like hate speech. So Wizards having something in their official documentation that says you can't make NFTs of Dungeons and Dragons and you can't do a hate speech in your homebrew, that's rad. That could have been the entire document. That could have been OGL 1.1. The point one is no NFT, no hate speech. And then you're good. Adding in all the weird stuff where you just admit that you can steal people's ideas? That's bad. Don't do that. You were probably already legally protected from doing that anyway, because you just have to say, oh, we didn't see it. Because rich corporations just kind of get to win in the courts. I don't know if you've noticed this. Putting that in your open gaming license is just like a weird flex you didn't have to do. Get rid of that. Just the NFTs, just the no hate speech. And it's done. It's great. You did it. Point number 2. In the webinar that everyone took the scary thing from, that D&D is under-monetized, you mentioned that the best way to grow a brand is to get new people into the brand. And that is true. Do that. Making your D&D movie is a great idea. It looks like a good movie, the directors are really solid, and you could jumpstart a cinematic universe that gets people into D&D, especially younger people, because you want younger people to be into your brand at a young age so they attach sentimental feelings with it. It's like why McDonald's has the play place and does birthday parties, is so that everyone thinks of Chicken McNuggets and gets happy. I'm one of those kids. I love Chicken McNuggets, and I'm a grown-ass man now. Now here's an issue with starting a cinematic universe, because so far there have been one or maybe two, if you count the Kevin Smith View Askewverse as a successful cinematic universe, that have actually worked. Most important thing, first movie has to be a banger. People have to really like it and spread the word about it through word of mouth. I don't know if you noticed, people aren't going to movie theaters as much anymore, with the exception of Avatar and Top Gun. So the butts who are in the seats the first weekend need to tell their friends, hey, go put your butt in the seat the second weekend. Because Top Gun Maverick and Avatar made their money not because they were big opening weekends, but because people kept going to see it again and again. This strategy falls apart if, I don't know, your core demographic of fans hates you 2 months before your movie comes out. So when I say you have 2 months to fix the open gaming license situation, that's not me threatening you and saying, hey, you better fix this in 2 months. It's more like Cleavon Little in Blazing Saddles taking himself hostage and saying, oh, we have to fix this in 2 months. This is a self-imposed threat. Oh, no, but go ahead. Announce that you're also doing a TV show before you've responded to the open gaming license stuff. That'll win the fans back for sure. So yeah, point number 2 is you're actually already kind of doing a good job at this if you weren't doing such a bad job of this. Part 3, Dungeons & Dragons is already a lifestyle brand. What do you mean you want to turn it into one? Yeah, another part of the 44-minute webinar. I am milking that video because it was really boring. But if you want to turn D&D into a lifestyle brand, good news, it already is. A lifestyle brand, for those who don't know, is something where it becomes like a pillar of a person's personality that they talk about. When you meet someone, you say, hey, what are you all about? They'll say their job, if they have a romantic partner, and like a favorite hobby. A lot of people will say, oh yeah, one of my biggest hobbies, Dungeons & Dragons. I buy a bunch of Dungeons & Dragons shirts. I have shirts that have Dungeons & Dragons stuff on them and posters that have Dungeons & Dragons stuff. I don't, because I don't decorate really, and I don't really like to wear graphic tees anymore, but a lot of people do. It is a lifestyle brand. The issue is, you haven't really supported that as a company. Let's talk about evil capitalism stuff with vertical integration. That's like when the company that sells greasy cheeseburgers also sells you toilet paper. You get them coming and you get them going. So, easy integration, sell dice, sell miniatures. Does Wizards of the Coast make dice and miniatures? Maybe. If they do, I haven't heard about it. Maybe the player's handbook you sell comes with some introductory dice. They're not anything special, but they let you know that you can get a discount on some more dice made by Wizards of the Coast. Ooh, that sounds nice. I like that. Also, you should have bought Hero Forge. Why didn't you buy Hero Forge and then put in a little pamphlet in every player's handbook that says, hey, you've got your book, you've created your character, now why don't you go to our website and give us $60? Again, you get them coming, you get them going. But you didn't do that, so whatever, it's fine. Kind of missed the boat on that. Probably gonna do that with the virtual tabletop stuff, but you should have just seen a smaller company that was doing something that would be good for your brand and acquired them. Because I'm guessing that the nerds who create dice and the nerds who create miniatures would actually love to be an official Dungeons & Dragons licensed product. We all love the brand. Oh, hey, yeah, we all love the brand, don't we? And also, so much of the Dungeons & Dragons experience is done by third-party people supporting the brand that fucks them. Maybe stop fucking them. Just a thought. Another great third-party company that exists now that you had nothing to do with is Start Playing. That's a company that just helps people find dungeon masters for different games, which is something you should have been doing because the scarcity of dungeon masters is a real issue in the D&D community. Also, it would build community because it would get strangers playing games together for the first time and becoming friends. Friends who have a shared interest in buying things about Dungeons & Dragons. Oh, next point, DMs. You need to make more DMs. You admitted in the 44-minute webinar that most of your product is bought by the 20% of players who are DMs. So what if part of your brand strategy was converting player to DM? Because I will remind you, your entire brand exists because of goodwill. Dungeons & Dragons is a uniquely cheap experience. Really, you only need one copy of a player's handbook and friends. And you can even just play with yourself. Your palms might get a little hairy, but that's fine. You just need the player's handbook. You just need to buy that one book, which is also pretty easy to pirate online. I'd never do it. I have my player's handbook, but if you lose the goodwill, you lose the people willing to pay you to buy a book. So, in that player's handbook that you're selling, your most popular book, which is probably why you're doing this one D&D thing anyway, you realized the most popular book we have is the player's handbook. Everyone who plays already has a player's handbook. I guess we gotta do D&D again. What if the player's handbook also included the Dungeon Master's Guide? Because the Dungeon Master's Guide is way too long. I've used it maybe 4 times to look up firearms, magic weapons, and that's about it. The Dungeon Master's Guide as it exists is more of a threat than an invitation to potential new DMs. It's a big, long, scary book that's kind of shitty to use. So just condense it, get the stuff you really, really need, put it at the back of the player's handbook, throw an adventure in there, and be like, hey, why don't you give DMing a try? And I know you're saying, that's the starter set. Yeah, but the starter set costs extra money. Stop trying to make extra money on your first sale. Your first sale is just to get them in, get them hooked, and then they start buying more books. That might sound like drug dealing. Moving on. Create more DMs, more storytellers, and you'll have people playing the game more, thinking about the game more, wanting to buy things from the game more, and getting really creative and making a bunch of new adventures for their friends. Oh, right! The whole point of your game is that one friend creates a world for the rest of their friends, and then they all team up against unsurmountable odds to beat a big, bad, evil thing. And your idea was to screw over the people who make the new cool worlds and be the big evil thing, and now you're like dumbfounded for a week, not knowing how to respond and just say, oh yeah, we became the bad guy here. So, whoever's at Wizards of the Coast watching this, thanks for sticking around, by the way. Watch time's super important. Get your shit together. Because I really like Dungeons and Dragons, but I don't really need you for Dungeons and Dragons. Nobody really needs you for Dungeons and Dragons. We're honestly just trying to like you, and you make it hard. Thanks for watching. I know I said I was going to have a homebrew video out this week, but it needed a little extra time in the can, so that'll be out next week. Go ahead and check out my other channel if you want to watch me play Elden Ring or Pokemon. We're going to be making more new videos like this. Thank you so much for the support on the last one, by the way. Really blew me away, and I really appreciate that. All right, I have to go edit this because I only have an hour and a half to do that, so bye!